The reason why we're talking about these 3 different clients is because they have 3 key differences that make the approach to their ads very different. Have one very key thing in mind. A big part of the focus for this ad was showcasing the showroom. With this brand, poses a challenge. I had to do one of my most important sayings, get creative. I had to figure out a way to make images move.
Next time we're doing creative, we need to just double down on this area because this is really, really working.
We use what they have, then we start having ideas.
Now I know you can do this, what about this, what about this?
And we're like, let's do a proper full-on shoot.
There's always a creative solution as long as you are creative. Have you ever wondered how we cater the creative for our clients? If you have, then you're going to love this episode of Tea Talks, as I'm going to quiz Darren on exactly what he does, why, and how he does it. Let's get into it. Right, Darren, here we are. We're back for another Tea Talks. Slightly different arrangement.
Up close and personal.
Aren't we? This is all a little bit intimidating. The camera is very close.
We've got this camera here. We've got your camera on you.
I know. It's like a visual feast.
And we've got the one over there as well.
Haven't we? In the distance. Yes, we've decided to change the format. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. I'd love to know what people think, because I think we've been doing the same format for a long time, but we want to change it up. You've got to test new things, A/B testing and all that, which might be something we get onto in this episode.
Oh, you never know. Well, we're looking the part. We're all branded up.
We are, yeah.
We're doing the full brand,
fleeces.
the fleeces. Oh, we're going to do the full unveiling. Yeah. Oh, look at this. It's just too good. There's good content, great visuals.
Yeah.
What more do people want? So, this episode, we're going to talk about creative, because this week you've been doing lots of creative, and I know that you've been working across at least 3 client creatives this week. Plus, you've also been doing our own creative, which by the time this comes out, our little Christmas ad will have done the rounds actually. So we should give that a plug. Should we do that?
Absolutely. If you haven't gone and seen it, pause this video. We'll put a link below. Go and see the Christmas extravaganza of the year. It's the Evergreen Christmas ad. We spared no expense.
Oh, we really didn't. Yeah, you've seen the John Lewis ad. Yeah. You've seen the the Lidl ads and all the classics. Yeah. But you haven't yet seen the Evergreen ad, so you're missing out. So make sure you check that out.
Go and see it.
It is good fun.
I've been actually literally putting it together today, and it's just
I am loving it. We still actually, as we've recorded this, we haven't actually finished. We've got one more day of one more scene,
but and most of it's done.
Most of it's done, but and we were literally just laughing about this a second ago before we came on, because we're gonna have a whole day out, and this is the madness that goes into when we create an ad. When we do Tea Talks, we can't just turn the camera on and then just start rabbiting for 20 minutes. But with the ad, the time and effort that goes into that. So we're on Saturday. We're actually going all the way to Essex
on a weekend.
For several hours to capture the grand total of what's the gap you just told me that we've got in the ad that we've got to fill?
I believe it's a whole total of 12 seconds.
12 seconds of footage in order. And for that we're going to have to, and it's going to be a brilliant 12 seconds, and it's a much needed 12 seconds.
My God,
it's going to be amazing.
Incredible 12 seconds.
But it shows you we're going to spend hours and hours and go, I think it's best part a 3-hour drive to capture 12 seconds. So you better enjoy
3 hours there and then 3 hours back.
And then about 3 hours probably there as well. So it's going to be a good 9-10 hour day to capture 12 seconds. Welcome to the joy of creating amazing ads.
It's all worth it.
Of course it is.
And it's also always worth it for our clients' ads.
They're lovely tie back there. We've done exactly that numerous times this year for our clients, haven't we?
In fact, one of the clients I want to talk about today, Archie and I, who is sat over there behind that camera,
he is,
went with me late at night to capture ads for this client.
So come on then, kick us off. Should we do 3? Because I know you've been working
way more than 3, but
But I know this week you've definitely been working on 3 because I've seen the updates coming in and I've had a look at them and it's great. So if we choose 3, if you just think about this week, because I think sometimes with our Tea Talks, I think that's what I love to get across and share with everyone who watches these and now listens to them, because they are available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now you can get little bite-sized Tea Talks on your favourite audio player. But what I think, and I know because people feed back to us, is they say they like the little insight into what we're actually doing on client accounts. You know, it's not like hypotheticals, oh, we should do this. It's like, no, we're actually doing this. We're being paid to do this, and we're then using this for ads, and it's really working and driving the growth for our clients. So I know you've been working on 3. Yeah. Let's just, I don't mind which one to go for. Who do you want to work first?
So let's talk about the linen cupboard. So the linen cupboard is one of our clients. They sell bed linen, white bed linen.
Yes,
specifically white bed linen.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. They have an incredible array of white bed linen. And we actually went.
We did.
Recently.
About a month ago, wasn't it?
Up to them in Rochdale to film an ad for them in an old mill.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that one, go and check out our Uncut.
That is Uncut. We did we went behind the scenes. Yep.
So we're getting all the plugs.
Aren't we just? Yes.
So like being in a bar.
We're well trained. Nice. We're well trained marketeers. We know how to. We've been doing this for months now. We know what we're doing.
So we went up. We filmed, and there's a couple of key things that you have to keep in mind. And now the reason why, again, we're talking about these 3 different clients is because they have 3 key differences that make the approach to their ads very different.
Sure.
So Linen Cupboard is an e-commerce based business.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
They sell online all across the country, and therefore, when we're making these ads, in my mind, I have one very key thing in mind, and that is product. We've talked about on this on these chairs before about product versus lifestyle.
Sure.
Again, go and check out that episode if you haven't seen it. I think we've
people are going to be starting this episode, aren't they? Blimey.
And for this brand in particular, we do like to do a bit of lifestyle as well.
Yeah.
But I like to make sure that we are focusing quite heavily on the product, because it's what people are buying.
Yeah.
And so we did 3 ads. We actually did a whole host of ads, but specifically video.
Sure.
We did 3 video ads.
Yep.
I think we did 4 graphic ads as well.
Yeah.
And with those ads, we focused a lot on the product. We had photos of the duvets with the linen on. We had photos of the pillows with the covers on.
Yeah.
We had videos with close-ups, so you could really see the texture.
Yeah.
You could see just how white it is.
Yeah.
But as well as that, we had photos and video of a model interacting with the product. Because I think as important as it is to see the product in these ads and see what you're buying, it's also important to see almost what it's like to use the product.
Sure.
So having a model lying on the bed and sort of looking like they're having
a great time. Yeah, exactly.
It's soft, it's cozy, it's nice. So that's a really important thing. And it's key that, for me at least, that with, say for example, thinking about one of the ads, probably the longer of the video ads, we start with shots of the product.
Yeah, I think, to your point, because it's e-commerce and because when we think about those key metrics that we're most focused on when it comes to the creative we want to get across, is you've got the thumb stop rate. You've got to make sure that it captures people's attention, if it's on Meta or Pinterest or wherever. And so that first visual, that you got that first 2 or 3 seconds to really say this is the product. And I think we have to lead with that, don't we?
And I think another important factor with this specific set of ads is it was a Black Friday set of ads.
Yes.
Again, immediately on screen, Black Friday sale. You're showing the intent of the ad almost immediately. It's also giving that clear call to action. And with Meta specifically, you ideally want to get some sort of hook in there in the first 3 seconds. And so by having that messaging already on screen right at the beginning, you're basically giving viewers an option to go to that next step as soon as they start watching.
And as I say, you've mixed up with different types of products, you know, because so we can split. And the reason you'll create so many different versions with both the moving image, the video, as well as the still image, to give us options to split test, and we can try create different product. We can literally go, what performs better, this type of product or that type of product, and does it perform better in situ, therefore on a bed, or is it actually, you know, we've got a shot with it, it's a duvet, it's all rolled up, so it's not on a bed, but you can see what it is, and it's very obvious. And as I say, we put the marketing message, in this case Black Friday, for this round of ads, front and centre. It does what it's not particularly complicated, and that's the point. Is that you say all the time, you're like, simple is best. So keep it simple.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a range of, say, for example, going back to the video ads with these, we did 3. Yeah. One was sort of like a more, I don't want to say full on, but a longer, more in depth, lots of different shots, mix of lifestyle and product. Yeah. And then we had 2, which were one shot. Yeah. Much shorter. Yeah. Just simple to the point, giving you, they were both lifestyle focused in this case, but still with the product in shot, of course, and with that call to action right there.
You know what we need to do? I thought, you know what we have to do with this episode of T-Talks? Show some of the ads as part of, like, can you do like a bit of a B-roll for this ad? So while I'm rabbiting on now, include a little bit of the ads. Can we do that? Can we include some? Because I just think...
Unfortunately, the podcast listeners won't be able to see them, but...
True. Well, there's all the more reason if you are listening on Spotify and Apple to go and watch the thing.
Come back later if you're listening.
You can just, you know,
and then have a watch.
But let's include. I think that because we're talking about it, and I want people to be able to see the actual ads and go, oh, okay, it can visualize exactly what we're talking about because they're all created. You know, I've seen them all. So I think that, can we do that?
Yeah, I think so.
We can do it. He said yes. So if this comes out and they're not in the edit, blame him.
Well, fortunately, I wouldn't be the one doing the full edit. It would be Archie.
Oh, there you go.
So I can blame him.
And he's not mic'd up, so he can't say no. So he's fine. He's doing it.
Yes, he says he can do it.
It's great. Thanks, Archie.
He's doing it now, I think.
Right. So that's e-commerce front. You know, putting the product front center. Let's give us another one you've worked on this week.
Before we go any further, if you're enjoying today's Tea Talk, you'll love our Grow with Evergreen podcast. Specifically created for home, garden, and lifestyle brands, it's a podcast dedicated to discussing paid media and marketing. Every episode, we're joined by a brand that wants to grow online. We delve into their business, dissect what they're doing, and define a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. And best of all, you get to listen or watch along, then take those learnings into your own business. Make sure you check it out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But for now, let's get back to today's Tea Talk.
So next one, let's go for the one that me and Archie went to in not the middle of the night, but in the evening.
Yeah. Okay.
Aqua Warehouse. They sell hot tubs.
Yes, they do.
And we went all the way there.
Yep.
Again, it was another shoot that we did. In fact, both of these are on the same uncut. So
they are.
Go back and watch the rest of that.
Yeah, we ended. Well, it makes sense. We end up doing shoots. We kind of group shoots together as much as we can, and then we'll go into a phase of editing. And so both of those were about a month ago, 3-4 weeks ago.
But then the biggest difference between this and the linen cupboard is whereas the linen cupboard is e-commerce. Yep. Aqua Warehouse is lead gen.
Of course.
Which means that you're not going to buy a hot tub online.
Yeah. I mean, technically you can on their website.
Technically.
But I can't imagine many people are going to go on.
Most people are going to go in
add to cart, please.
Yeah. So that would be a bit of a risk, I think. Yeah. So most people are going to go in, and actually one of the things that we want to do with their ads is generate more footfall into the showroom. So a big part of the focus for this ad was showcasing the showroom. Showcasing the product again, because it's what people want. But also, in this case, 2 big things that we did with these ads was one, similar to Linen Cupboard, we had models.
Sure.
Which again is not just showcasing what it is, but what it feels like to use the thing. So we had 2 models, which were the target audience. And again, it's really important that if you're selling hot tubs and you know your target audience is sort of that 45 to 55 sort of range, that you're not getting like 18-year-olds sort of partying in the hot tub, because that's not your target audience. So we had the target audience as our models. Looking like they're having a really nice time in the hot tub. And then as well as that, we also had the owner who is well versed at being on camera.
He's great. He loves being on camera.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so he was on the camera as well because a really special thing about them coming into the showroom is that they'll see him.
Yes, yeah.
So a little bit like how we do these, and we do our uncuts and our pod, and it creates that know, like, and trust with our prospects. This is the same with him. So when people see him on the ad and then they go into the showroom and they see him, they go, I saw you on the ad. They already have a bit of a connection there.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we really wanted to try and showcase with his ads. And then again, similarly, with this being a lead gen, it's all about getting people to the showroom. So on the ads, we made sure that the call to action actually shows a map of where they are.
Yeah, because the big USP for them is they've got this huge showroom.
Yeah, it's the biggest showroom in Southeast.
Yeah, and so you know that is a big USP, and we know, and he knows, that getting people in store is a massive part of his sales
Huge
process.
part of it,
And so we've used the ads and we've tailored it to be here's the product and here's it in situ and here's it being used. And then here's some words from the owner, because you've got some with and without, haven't you? You've got some that are more the product and lifestyle.
Again, it's about split testing.
Yeah.
It's making sure, and again, we've got the graphics to go along with it as well. So we always make sure we have a mix, because I think it's incredibly important, particularly on Meta, to have a mix of graphics, still images, and video as well. You can use carousels as well. Again, making sure that your videos are both sort of normal videos, and usually that would be sort of square, or reels. And again, just as a side note here, it's really, really important to make sure that you're aware of the safe zone when you're making ads. So again, it's just making sure that you're not having text where there's going to be part of the overlay on Meta.
You can Google that. You can just find it by Googling.
You can go into it and Google it. It's a little bit more technical, and I would argue that there's not as much out there to help you if you're doing it yourself as a brand than you would need. I had to make my own overlay, for example, that we use for all of our clients. But it allows us to make sure that when those ads go up, because of course when I'm making an ad, I don't see what it's going to look like on Meta. Which means that when we use our safe zones, we know that any text on screen is not going to be covered by little graphics from Meta or the call to action button at the bottom and stuff like that. So that's something that we make sure we do on all of our ads. But with this one in particular, being able to show that map at the end, and not only just a really close-up map, but we start more zoomed out. So you can see London in there, which this showroom's based in Chelmsford, which is not too far from London, and you're going to get a big crowd of people coming from all over in that general area. So to be able to show that and then zoom in and go, look, we're here.
This is where we are. Yeah, exactly.
That's really important for this client.
So so with that one, as I say, it's really. I think the big thing that I know I'm taking away from it is we really think about the type of business and what are the big USPs. If it's e-commerce, it's going to be the product, because there isn't a physical store or you're buying the product. But I think with Aqua, it's obviously about getting people into the store, so making a point of saying this is where the showroom is. It's obvious, but again, it's when you're doing the creative, it would be so easy to forget that and just focus solely on the product.
Some nice pictures or videos of the product.
And we see that a lot, and you actually turn around and go, well, hold on, you've got this massive showroom here. That's a big USP. That's the point of the ad, is we need to drive footfall. Yes, we're running an ad maybe on Meta or here, there, everywhere, but ultimately we want people to see it in the local area and think, we're going to pop down there at the weekend. It's that. So go on, we've got a third one then that you're working on this week.
So we have been working with the Oxford Shutter Company. They do.
What do they sell?
They do shutters and blinds.
Blimey, I'd never have guessed.
No,
there you go.
Well, the difference with this brand, with the compared to the other two, is so Linen is e-commerce. Aqua is lead gen.
There you go.
And Oxford Shutter Company is lead gen, but they don't have a physical location.
Okay.
So it poses a challenge. Similarly, we've started working with them fairly recently.
Yeah.
And because there isn't a place we can go to,
Right.
it's quite difficult to actually go and capture something. So whereas with the other two, we went, we did a shoot, we got everything we needed. With this brand, we were a bit more limited in terms of what we could use to create ads. What we did have was some really, really nice photography provided to us by the client, which means for graphics, I mean, Harriet had a great time.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
The video,
you were twiddling your thumbs.
I was a bit struggling a little bit more, but it just meant that I had to do one of my most important sayings: get creative.
There you go.
I had to get creative, and I had to figure out a way to make images move.
Okay.
And we did manage to find some footage in the end for a second version of the ad.
Right.
But one of the ads that I did do was I used the graphics that Harriet had created.
Right.
And I basically turned it into almost like a carousel.
Okay.
But in video format.
Okay.
So carousels are incredibly useful on Meta. And we do carousels.
Yeah,
for
we
our
do.
ads.
Yeah.
But in this sense, I was able to add other elements to it that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get in a carousel. For example, you can add music.
Okay, nice.
You can also you essentially control the timing of that carousel.
Sure.
Because it's a video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so it means that whereas with some people, if they're scrolling through and they see a carousel and that first image isn't enough to encourage them to go to the next image, with a video, you go through, you see the first image, and as long as they're there long enough for it to then move on, that might then automatically capture their attention to keep them there, keep them watching, so that they go through, they see it all. It's nice, it's moving along. It's very sort of tailored to be engaging.
Sure.
Again, calls to action all over there as well, and then a sort of a main call to action at the end.
Yeah.
Which again is sort of leading them to the offer that we
which is a different offer. So with that one, we're not using any models. We're not really using video in the same way we are for a few of the others. As you say, you're taking we're taking what we've got and what we're able to get, and then just making it work. Still split testing, still focusing on the core USPs, which is ultimately there's the specific marketing offers for seasonality and what we're currently running, and that what we're doing now will change next month and so on. So there's different offers and different ads that we'll be promoting, but you've had to be very creative in going, how can I make this as engaging as possible, so that we don't just put a flat image up on an ad.
Exactly.
Which is what would be very tempting to do and very easy to do, is go, well, we haven't got video, we'll just do a static image.
That's it.
Put whack a logo, an offer on it and be done. But it's like, no, that's not going to cut it.
No. And there are other things as well. So for example, on the graphics, you have the image and then graphic of like the offer.
Right.
Whereas on the video, you can animate all of that. So instead of just having the offer text and banner and all of that on there, we have motion graphics.
Yeah.
So it comes
and
in
even
in
just
interesting ways.
I love that in itself, just with a little bit of movement and then bringing in the text, it just more visually appealing, isn't it?
Exactly.
And I think it helps to take what could be, just a flat, relatively simple ad, but it actually just brings it to life, makes it more engaging, more, visually appealing on the eye, and it just mixes it up.
And I think what's really important with this example is it goes to show that you can really do a lot with a little. And I think that's something that we always try to do, particularly when we first start working with brands. Is that
that's a really good point.
We don't necessarily need to go and do all of these big shoots immediately when we're just starting out. We can actually say, well, give us what you've got, and we'll make it work, that extra bit.
And sometimes we need to do that because either maybe the client hasn't got the budget, or they haven't got the time, or they're not doing their next shoot for 3-6 months, and it's like, well, this is what I've got. We've got various clients where, and as you say, we'll always say, well, let's use what we've got, because we can always make it work harder than it's probably been doing up until this point, and really just try and make it work and get the most out of it that we can. And then once you get the results from that, well, then it's like, right, now let's take it up. And that's often what we've done. A recurring theme from, recent months this year has been, we do a little bit and the client, I love this. God, I'm really seeing the results from this. This is great. And then it's like, now we want to do more.
We build on
then
it.
we just want to do more. What else could we do? How many clients have we say to us, what else could we? Could we do this? Or, what else? And we then go, right, well, okay, now you've opened up and we've got loads of ideas.
We tend to have the same sort of format in that regard, that we use what they have.
Yeah.
We then go and do some sort of shoot where it's fairly basic, fairly just product
we do.
based.
It evolves.
Then we start having ideas, and we're like, let's do a proper full-on
every
shoot.
time.
And it does this every time. And actually, I'd say all the clients that we've done that with have loved it.
They do because the more they get comfortable doing it, and they then come up with their own idea. Oh, well, actually, now I know you can do this. What about this? What about this? Let's do all these other things. And it just sort of evolves. But you're absolutely right. That is such an interesting point. If we think about, and it will continue, but the evolution of from a client, well, those first few months, what it's creatively what we do, and then by the time you're a year, 18 months, and in 2 years, for some of our newer clients, by the time we get them a year, 2 years in, what from a creative standpoint we're going to be doing is very, very interesting, very exciting.
Keep topping.
We just keep raising the bar, don't we? Actually, and then you just leverage what works best. And the other big thing as well, from a creative standpoint, we haven't really touched on. I'm not going to get time because we need to wrap this one up. But is we learn every campaign. We learn what works. So we go, video really works. The model is key for this brand, or actually this is all about this. The products, which is the key, or this is the location, and that. Learning from the data feeds in, then it's like feedback loop, goes into the creative. We go, right, next shoot or next time we're doing creative, we need to just double down on this area because this is really, really working. And then we'll always throw in a little wild card of sort of like, let's mix it up and try something else. You've got to experiment. There you go. That's 3 very different ways that we get creative for our clients when they're very different types of businesses, and all too often that is the case. That we've one day, as I said, this very week, I've seen Darren. He sent over. He always gets very happy when he sends over his stuff. He goes, check this out, and he sends it to me, and I have a look at it. I'm like, oh, it's amazing. So we, and this week for e-commerce, then it's lead gen, then it's where we're working with limited resources. It's always doable. It's always doable. It's always possible. And thankfully, our main man here is super creative, so it just works. So there you go, that's 3 ways. There's always a creative solution as long as you are creative. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.